Hey guys, it's Kurt, and I'd like to introduce my new friend Kelsey Franks over at Kelsey Franks. You can find her on YouTube, and she's really, really good. I've watched all of her videos, and every time I watch one of her videos, it's like seriously, I could just sit there and watch you talk all day because you just make so much sense about everything you talk about, and it's usually relationships.
Yes.
It's good stuff. And what I like about you is you'll talk a lot about just general relationship topics, which is kind of what I want to show people today is the whole twin flame thing. It turns out is really just something that I hope the whole human race is headed towards, like the message of non-attachment and like following your true desires and being your own person and getting out of the programming is something that I believe twin flames are meant to do, but we're really just way showers, I think.
Exactly.
So check out her YouTube channel. She's also online at kelseyfranks.com and Instagram. You can look her up, check her out. So, like I said, really for the most part, and I could probably just sit here and like just let you talk the whole time, seriously, because you're so eloquent and you're so good at explaining these things. There was a video that you posted on February 26th, and I remember sitting there watching it, and I was just so blown away. I think it was like channeled message for the collective or something like. It was February
Oh, it was
26th.
the energy reading.
Yeah. And I was listening to it thinking, well, this sounds like everything that I went through with my former marriage that I just got out of. And I remember sitting there thinking, like, yeah, like I stayed in that relationship for as long as I did for all the wrong reasons. Wonderful person, my ex, but still like, feeling like I have to live up to society's expectations or that I owe people something.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's that programming, it's that conditioning that
Yes.
you were talking about. And it was too, like I remember thinking, oh, I got to do this for my parents or something like that, or my friends. I don't want to let them down, even though it wasn't really something that I wanted to be doing.
Yeah. There's just so much pressure to please everyone else. And from the time we're kids to the time we come to be adults, we're just programmed to like live our lives for other people. We're
Mhm.
taught how to think instead of thinking for ourselves. So we end up like caught up later in life in these relationships where we don't belong in. And honestly, I think a lot of people just aren't even ready to be in a relationship, period, because you're technically not ready to be in a relationship until you have developed that relationship with yourself.
Mhm.
Which, how can you do that unless you break through all these programs that we've been indoctrinated with since we were kids? And like I would literally was not even ready to be in a relationship until I was 30 years old when I met my twin. And it was crazy. I was just like, oh my gosh, because like it was just epiphany after epiphany or download or whatever you want to call it, coming over me. And then dark night of the soul and purging all these
Mhm.
things. And like after I got rid of all these programs, then I was like, I don't even need a relationship.
Right.
That's how I felt. I don't need it because I'm so happy just with me.
Well, and that was the thing too that probably caused your twin flame to
To be with
actually want to be with you. Right. And my twin flame was because you recognize that nothing outside of yourself is ever going to make you feel whole or
yeah,
feel love or complete. It's not, there's no external thing that you could ever have that's going to complete you that way. Money, time, friends, fame, even.
yeah,
How many famous people do you know that are miserable, know of that are miserable? A lot of them, and especially relationships. And that was, I think, the thing that really struck a chord with me was when you explained that, like, no, you have to have that relationship with yourself. You're not even really ready to have a
yeah,
relationship with somebody else until you can do that first. And I was just like, oh my God, that explains like the last maybe 10 years of my life, like just trying to be a people pleaser and maybe even why, like, because I've always thought like twin flames, when they meet and they have soul recognition, it's probably not true that you necessarily have to have that dark night of the soul if you're
Mm-hmm.
already somebody who's balanced that
Yeah.
way. You know what I mean? If you already feel whole within yourself, it's just people usually have a twin flame experience because they need to be that way.
Yeah.
And you're
Well, it helps you grow. So when
right.
you, okay, so when you, it's the stages, you meet your twin, it's bliss. And then that separation phase,
Mm-hmm.
that is what, that's why some people stay in it for so long, because if you don't purge all the
Right.
programming, you can't come into union. It's impossible.
Exactly.
You have to purge all of that stuff. And like, for instance, when people are in the karmic relationships, I was married and I have 4 kids, and I felt like I had to stay for the kids.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like year after year after year, Kelsey staying in this relationship because of her kids. And I was like, I'll stick it out till they're 18 and then I'll leave. I can't even
Mm-hmm.
tell you how many people I know are doing that right now. And
There's
what
a
they're
lot of
doing
people that are
is
doing
showing their
that.
kids what love isn't. So
Right.
every day we're
Oh, we got
going,
to do it for the kids, the kids, the kids. Well, now wait a minute. All you're doing is showing your kids, like you said in your
but love
video,
is,
love is right. Exactly. Love is hard. Love is difficult. You have to fight to save this.
yeah,
And it's like, well, love isn't, I don't think love is something that's hard or like even based in fear. You can't, like, love and fear are mutually exclusive. Like, how can you have, like, how do you have to fight for something that's supposed to like feel good?
yeah.
It doesn't
Well,
even
you can't
make
go to
any sense.
counseling for chemistry. That's what I tell people. Like you either are have chemistry and there's a spiritual connection, or you don't, you
Mm-hmm.
know? And
Right.
yeah, it's
Well, and I
it,
think that's why people, when they stay in the so-called separation phase for so long,
mm-hmm.
because they're still living in that template.
Yes,
That's like my point I was making a couple minutes ago. Like, that might not even be necessary if you weren't already in that template. Your twin would just want to be with you because you're already good. You're not there to live up to everybody's expectations. You're not concerned about what somebody else is doing. They're free to do whatever they want because you're good. You don't need them to act or be a certain way. You feel good.
exactly. So when they're rejecting you, what that makes you want to do is move on with your life. And if you don't feel like you want to move on with your life, then that probably means you have some things to let go of, because you don't
Mm-hmm.
need that twin to feel whole. You need to feel whole first to
Right.
attract that twin. Yeah.
And this has to be, like I've been saying, this has to be the future of humanity. Relationships have to go in that direction. This really is new earth type stuff where, and it's, I mean, new earth, it's not all about just the, say, I don't know, having a utopia or whatever it is, and everybody acts a certain way and nobody hurts other people and blah, blah, blah. Well, there's a reason that things would be that way if we get that far, in 1,000 years or
Right.
whatever. And the reason things would be that way is because everybody feels whole.
Yeah.
Nobody requires anybody to do for them. Like, that's why you see like nations warring, because
Mhm.
one nation covets the resources of the other nation, or they're fighting.
Yeah.
Like, one nation is, you're not doing, you're not keeping up your end of the treaty that we have or whatever it is. And they fight, or if it's a cultural difference, it's, well, you're not a type of culture that we think is compatible, so we have to be at war with you. And I mean, it's the same in even like a human romantic relationship. It's, the person doesn't like some habit that the other person has or something, or if you're in a relationship and your lover runs off on you with somebody else or whatever it is,
Yeah.
um, which I'm not saying makes it right, but there really is no right or wrong, really. It's
Exactly.
like, I don't care if you run off with somebody. Like, it doesn't even affect me. And if you're going to do that, I'm just going to say, see ya.
Exactly. And you don't
Like, I'm
get
good.
them, you just move forward.
Mm-hmm.
Because at the end of the day, it's about being a vibrational match to something. So if you still haven't purged this program, your vibration is lower. So you are only going to
Mm-hmm.
attract something that is matching your vibration. So
Right.
as you do the work, your vibration rises, and then you match that love vibration. And then you and your twin can come together. And
Mm-hmm.
even if they seem like they aren't there yet spiritually, that's because that's the whole point of union, is for you to find that balance, come into union, and then help each other grow. Because the growing doesn't, you didn't just do all the work once you reach union. Like, it's not like that. Then it comes into a conscious relationship, which is what I think we should be calling it, instead of soulmates, twin flames, and everything else. But when you're in that separation phase, it makes it easier to label twin flame because of all the support you can get, for example, on YouTube. Like, you were one of my favorite readers to watch when I was in separation because I resonated so much with your reading and you made me laugh. But yeah, that support I totally needed when I was in separation. So I think it's good to have that label as twin flame. Then once you come into union, you're in a conscious relationship. Like, you can drop the label and start working out with each other to grow, you know?
Well, yeah, and everybody knows what a big problem I have with labels. But it's true. Like, once my twin and I came into so-called union, it was like, I don't even need the twin flame template anymore. It's not even about that anymore. It's really just about freedom and about living your life the way you want and not worrying about what other people think or do or want. And you feel good and you feel free. And with your twin flame, of course, when you're in that state, they come to be with you permanently and they don't leave. Like, there's no problem. Everything is harmonious. But going beyond twin flames, which was kind of my original inspiration for wanting to talk to you today, it's like any normal relationship, any regular relationship, whatever word you want to pick, soulmate relationship, whatever, where the person isn't necessarily going to be energetically drawn to you because they're not your twin flame.
Yeah.
It's just a soulmate or something like that. It's still the same. It's still the same. It has to be the same, where you still feel wholeness and peace because you are love and you get that. You resonate with that higher love vibration, like you were just talking about a minute ago. And then whatever the other person is doing, it doesn't matter. So if they want to be with you, you're like, this is great. And if they don't want to be with you, you're like, well, that's great too. I don't care. I'm good.
Yeah.
You know,
so when
you can't,
yourself,
like, nobody's going to make you feel love. You
yes,
are love.
exactly. So when you're with yourself and you feel that and you start to really enjoy spending time alone, whoever comes into your life has to match or exceed how you feel by yourself for you to even want them with you.
Yes.
That's why in my separation phase, I was like, this is making me feel shitty. So I'm just going to focus on me moving forward. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, I'm going to be good anyways because I love the way I feel right now. You know?
That's how you know you're close to what people call union, I think, by the way. I remember there was a 2-week period at the end of our quote unquote separation where we didn't talk at all for like the first time in a long time, like no contact. And I felt great. And I was like, this is terrific anyway. Like, I don't have her in my energy. I can kind of just focus on me and balance. And I knew by how good I felt and how balanced I felt, like no ups and downs anymore, just all neutral all the time, that probably she's going to come crashing in.
It had to.
And she
It
did.
had to. Vibration has to meet. It's law of attraction. The basics. It's really, really basic if you think about it. But we overcomplicate it because we're so programmed.
Exactly.
We're attached to all of these things and we don't know any other way. It's okay. Don't get down on yourself because that'll just bring you lower. You have to learn to talk to your, like everybody says, the inner child, and it's so cliche, but it's not. Like, you have to treat yourself like you are that child. Like, how would you treat a child? Would you be like, come on, like, what's wrong with you? Like, you can do better. Like, you know what I mean? No, you would like stroke their head. It's okay. It's okay to make mistakes.
Nurture.
Exactly. You have to be like that with yourself. It's all about self-love. If you can't love yourself, then somebody else can't love you.
Right. Yes. God damn. I wish I could just, there's got to be somebody that made a bumper sticker that says that. If you can't love yourself.
Oh, you make the bumper sticker. You're the person.
Yeah, I should. I'm going to do merch eventually. But no, that's a good saying. If you can't love yourself first, nobody else is going to. And if you do get into a relationship, if you're not ready for one, it's not going to be fulfilling.
Yeah.
It's not, because you're relying on the other person to make you feel good. Well, I got news for you. you're responsible for 100% of your feelings. Nobody makes you feel anything, good
Yes,
or bad. If you feel something, it's your reaction.
exactly.
That's all. So
I think
here's the
that
other, go ahead.
everybody deserves this twin flame love. Because let me tell you, like, I thought I was in love so many times throughout my life. And like, what our culture thinks love is not even close. It's
No.
not. Like, those movies, they exist in the twin flame relationship. And here's the thing, everybody has a twin. But the
Mm-hmm.
reason they say, 144,000 wake up and all that stuff is because not everybody manifests their twin in this lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
So those people that do, that's the light workers and the way showers. And that's why it's so important for us to lead the way and to come out and not be afraid to speak our stories, because we have to show everybody else. And if you don't come into union because you're so worried about what your twin's doing, like, just focus on yourself, because we have such important missions here, and we have our stories to share and our light to
Mm-hmm.
shine, and we can't do that if we're not getting rid of the programming.
Well, and it's like I tell people all the time anyway, is, well, your twin is ghosting you, or they rejected you and they're saying that they don't want to be with you anyway, or whatever. Well, then you might as well just focus on yourself.
Yeah,
What are you going to do? Like, make them come be with you?
yeah,
Like, and that doesn't even work with like a regular, like a soulmate relationship, or what people call a karmic relationship. And that's the other thing I wanted to address with you too in this video, is the programming. Oh my God, the programming, like our
yeah,
culture, and it doesn't matter whose culture it is, but I mean, and there's the stereotype, and it's not really a stereotype. I mean, it really is this way. People, they work for the weekend. It's like they live for the
yeah,
weekend. You get up, you go to work, you come home, and you're just so worn out by the end of the week that you don't even know, you don't even want to do anything. You just want to chill. And um you don't even know like what you like, or what your hobbies are, or who you are as a person. Like, the
hmm
programming is so deep that you don't even stop to think about those things. And it doesn't even have to be somebody that just has like a 9 to 5 job. I mean, most people do, but it's just, whatever your situation is, whatever it is you're doing, if you're relying on some external system or some person or something like that to fulfill you, it's the same thing. And it's like, people that do have a 9 to 5 job, I'm trying to have, buy a big house to impress my friends. I get very little time to myself. I don't know what I like to do. I'm just doing, people just kind of like, I think, move through life blindly without really thinking about what it is they're doing and why they're doing it, because it's just what everybody else is doing. And,
right.
again, if it's not the 9 to 5 job, it's, well, whatever your lifestyle is that something that you learned to do? Like, like a monkey, you see other people doing that, and so you just start doing that too, whatever it is that your lifestyle is. But people do that, and they do it because they believe they have to live up to everybody else's expectations, and they just don't know, like, what makes them tick. They've never stopped to think about it, like, what really makes me happy, what should my own life purpose be?
I think what the issue is that we don't take the time to slow down, because a lot of people base their self-worth off of productivity, which
Yeah.
was totally me, because I was raised by my dad, who was a perfectionist.
In
And
America,
I
yeah.
became I played basketball up through college. I went through, got my bachelor's and my master's degree. I did all these things. I was so unhappy. And I thought, once I reach this goal, I'm
Hmm.
going to find happiness.
Once I get to this place.
Exactly. And it was like, anytime I slowed down, I felt guilty. I was like,
Hmm.
you're a bum. You're not doing anything.
Right.
And it was just this negative self-talk. And I didn't even realize I was doing it, because that's what we're supposed to do. You get a pat on
Right.
the back to be
Hmm.
this way. And it's bringing you down so much, to the point where you can't slow down to figure out who you are, to be it, just be, you know. And I think that's one of the major things that holds us back, is our culture pushes that. And people who
Big
do
time.
slow down, we call them lazy, you know. And it's just this shame, this guilt. It's all these negative low vibrations on the vibrational scale. I don't know if you've ever
Hmm.
seen that. You could Google it. But everybody's either at neutral or below. And then they're wondering why they're attracting all these things that match that vibration. And it's like, I'm working so hard. I'm doing so much. Like manifesting wealth, manifesting relationships, manifesting anything should not be hard. You allow it into your life. You match that vibration and you allow it into your life.
Mm-hmm.
But we can't because we're not vibrating high enough to receive it.
And you know
We
what?
know basic concepts that we should be teaching this in school, law of attraction, all of that.
What's interesting too is when I finally got to this level, I guess you could say, I realized this is actually really easy.
Yeah.
This is like compared to the old template of doing,
Yes.
and just like you were
Like,
explaining, trying to be overproductive and living up to somebody else's expectations, doing too much, looking for some goal in the future that's going to validate you. That to me is hard.
yeah, it was for
And
me.
like, or just letting go of your twin flame and letting them be free and really detaching from them. People think that's hard. But when you finally do it, it's like I just feel like this big weight has been lifted off my shoulders. And it's not just with my twin flame, it's like everything is different. And I'm just like, wow, like life was so easy, and it has been all along. It's just
Yeah.
people have these mental constructs about how difficult life is supposed to be, and we're supposed to fight for everything all the time. And you don't. You just have to feel good and feel balanced and work with the universe instead of fighting it. Just
Yeah.
allow the universe to co-create your life with you, and you just attract everything that you've ever wanted when you resonate with it.
Yeah. And you actually have an intuition that you can follow because you're not so scheduled. Like I refuse to have a schedule because as soon as you have a strict schedule and you have to be here, here, and here, your intuition is shut all the way out.
Mm-hmm.
How are you supposed to follow what to do next when you have it all written down on a piece of paper? Like relax, people. Like that's the best advice I give anyone. Let go of any expectation. Who cares what anyone thinks, and just relax. And then just
Mm-hmm.
think. Don't even think. Just let something come to your mind and then follow it.
Just
You'll
be.
meet the most randomest people. Things will come into your life. Money comes into your life. It's crazy. And my twin came into my life when I started doing that.
It
And
just
everything
sort
that
of
didn't serve
happens.
fell away.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And right now, I mean, even with like my situation where I'm building my YouTube channel, I'm kind of in this transition where I'm moving, I'm moving to another place to live and working a full-time job. Even still, and I see like the universe has been throwing me cues lately, like get ready, like this is going to shift out before the summer shows up. And so I already
Yeah.
know that like this is just like a rebalancing of my life, and I'm just like, okay, cool, I just go with it. And it's weird too, because even though I'm really super busy right now, I know what the purpose is. And even like, say I get client appointments, like people that want to do readings or coaching or
Mm-hmm.
something like that, I always get just enough to fill the extra time that I do have, for
Yeah.
the week or whatever. Never
Works.
like, I've never been like super inundated where I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to be booked out a month. I don't know what to do. And I'm
Yeah.
stressing out. It's like, no, like the universe is like working with,
You're so taken care of.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
awesome. And it's weird too. I'm still kind of in this phase where I'm like, is this really happening? It's just like everything is just working for me.
Yeah.
And it just does. There's just this symbiosis between me and source.
Yes.
And it's just clicking.
Yeah.
It's so easy.
Says everything is always working out for me. That's what she was kind of like one of the catalysts to my spiritual awakening. And I would just, every time something was going wrong, like everything's always working out to me.
Everything's always working
There's a
out.
reason for this contrast. And then it always saw it through.
Mm-hmm.
It was crazy. So when I separated from my husband, we lived in California at the time. And I'm from the East Coast, and I didn't know anyone on the West Coast. And plus, it's just not really my bag over there, right?
Mm-hmm.
So as soon as that happened, I was like, I can't stay here. And so we had owned a house in Virginia. I'm from Pennsylvania, but I was like, whatever, I'm going to go back there because the people who were renting it out, they left. So it was like perfect timing. This is the universe. I was like, just so you know, I'm moving back to the East Coast. You can come if you want. If you don't want to, my mom's going to help me take the kids over. So we get back there. And then a few months later, who do I meet? My twin.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I'm supposed to be in Virginia and not move back home to Pennsylvania. And it was just like one thing after another thing after another thing. I mean, I moved entirely across the country with 4 kids and 2 cats. Come on, man. And it was smooth.
Wow.
Somehow it was smooth. Just crazy how my life is unfolding. I can't even believe I'm here right now. I can't. It's crazy.
Yeah,
I mean,
something like that you would think is usually there's going to be all kinds of problems, you know, with that many people in tow, but it was fine.
Smooth. Life is smooth now, even when I feel like things should seemingly be crazy. If you're from the outside looking into my situation, like everyone's like, are you okay? All those kids by yourself? Like, you know what I mean? And I'm just like, I've never been happier in my life. Like, this is, I even just got a puppy to add to the mix.
But it just works. There's just a synergy there. And, you know, everything happens for a reason. Everything that is happening must be what's supposed to be happening.
Yeah.
Because the universe doesn't fuck up. You know, God doesn't make mistakes. And sometimes I'll catch myself thinking, oh, this is too much, or what if this bad thing happens, or what if this doesn't go down the way it's supposed to, just, you know, like how the mind does that.
Yeah.
It's always trying to like think less of the situation. It's always doing that. There's always some thought there that's like, oh, I have to worry about this thing. And I look at that. I don't even catch myself doing it kind of a moment. It's more like I just look at it just instantly every time that happens. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, my life is amazing. Like, I just don't even believe my own thoughts anymore when I have those limiting, what's that?
Change your perception. You observe. That's what consciousness is.
Yeah.
You're observing what you're thinking.
I'm observing it.
This perception over this perception.
Right. And it's so stupid too, to think of having those limiting beliefs like that when I think about how incredible my life is anymore and simple and fulfilling, to look at that thought and just be like, what the hell are you talking about? But it's that programming. It's that programming. You got to have something to be worried about. You got to do more. Get up off your ass and do these things, you know. And it's just not true. You don't have to do that.
Yeah, and the thing of it is when big contrast comes in your life, you will get to the point where you're excited because you know that means you're going to level up spiritually, because you're being triggered to purge some of that, more of that programming.
Yeah.
There's one dark night of the soul. You have dark night of the soul on dark night of the soul. Like, you'll see, but you'll know how to flow through it in such an easy way that it doesn't feel as hard anymore.
It doesn't feel bad.
Like, bring it on, you know?
That's what I'm saying.
Perfect. Like, we're going to go through contrast. And that just means level up and it's all good, you know?
The universe knows what it's doing.
Yes.
That's for sure.
100%.
Well, Kelsey, thank you very much for hopping on here today. And again, everybody, I hope you go check out our channel, subscribe, watch all of her videos. I swear to God, like, when I hear her talking, it's like she grows little Yoda ears. You know, seriously, like, you've got so much wisdom. And I think of people that are twice your age that don't even have half the wisdom that you do. But that's what happens. I mean, when you finally surrender and accept, I guess, reality into your life. I don't know what else to call that, but you just stop fighting. You surrender. You give in to love.
Let things come to you, because really, like, everybody has infinite amount of knowledge within inside of them, but they're not relaxed enough, and they don't have, you know, they're not letting it in. And for me, when I make a video, I don't plan anything. I hate planning. I don't plan what time or day I'm going to do it, and I don't
Mhm.
plan what I'm going to say. But if something comes to me, I'll hurry up and turn on my phone and make
Right.
a video and post it. I'm very, you see me, I'm not real organized with it.
No, you're off the cuff, but like, man, I could just sit and listen to you talk all day.
Thanks,
You're
Kyle.
awesome. So check her out, everybody. All
All
right.
right.
I'll talk to you next time.
All right. Have a good
Have a
one.
good week.
Yep. Take care.